Good evening everyone, and welcome to round 2 of season 2 of the Flat Out E-Racing V8 Championship. Here we are at the Le Mans in France, the Circuit de la Sarthe, this famous circuit known for the 24-hour race in June. Tonight is hosting 2 races for the V8 Championship. Now, a little bit of a different circuit to the normal Le Mans track. It is with no chicanes, and they're all just coming round to start their only qualifying lap, because they need to get round, and if they with such a long lap, they've needed to get round now to get across before the time runs out, because it's only a 5-minute qualifying, and then we've got 2 20-minute races. So we're currently on board with Bernd Frey, who's running the room tonight, so we're all appreciative of his efforts there. We'll just quickly hop on board with him to get a view of this circuit. We go through Tetra Rouge as we head down to the start of the Mulsanne Straight. Careful not to go too wide here on the exit, because you can get a penalty there for running too wide. Now, this tonight is going to be a real slipstreaming battle, because here, this is about, I think off the top of my head, a 3 mile straight. So as you can see by the lines on the road, we're a public road, so normal traffic will run along this. So as we head down, just we go past that building on the left, there's normally a chicane there on the right. We may see it, there it is, coned off on your right, so that's normally the first chicane, which in the 24-hour race they use. We're not worrying about that, we're carrying on. Straight past, we come up over the crest, absolutely flat out. There you go, nearly 175 miles an hour. Now normally at this point you'll be over to the right looking for a brake marker point, a telegraph pole, gap in the fence or something, hit the brakes hard, and then you'll be off left there, round that gravel trap and back out here again. As we come down towards Mulsanne corner, this area is famous. This is where Mark Webber in the Mercedes, back in around about 96, 97 off the top of my head, came over this crest, got air under the car, up it went, and full aerobatics, and landed upside down on its roof here. So we go round Mulsanne corner, very tight, right, second gear right-hander. We'll head back down as we come up towards Indianapolis, which again, another fast section with these 2 right-handers. The first one just flat out, and the second one you just need to be that little bit more careful. We're going to go round here. Sorry, the third one we need to be a little bit more careful. I forgot about that little bit of curb there. We're going to dive into this one, but we also need to be thinking about braking. So we're down the 5th, down the 4th, down the 3rd, turning in, flipping the curve on the outside. Oh, we've picked a penalty up there, which he's going to need to shake off. And he's lost it already, but that's going to cost Bernd Frey dearly there. So round the last sharp right corner, and we're again still on public roads, as you can see. So this is the traditional part of the circuit. It's been used since this race was started back in the 20s, and we're just coming up to the newer section, which isolates the last part of the track and the pit lane from the normal road. So here we go, normal road goes on straight there. We go round the Porsche curves, round the right, round the left, go right over to the wall on the right hand side, come across to the left, cross the curb again, getting a little bit away from the apex there, but still not a bad line. So we come now across the curb there. Now we've got a quick right and left hander here as we come up to the final chicane, which is like a double chicane, so left right. They're going to the pits, they'll shoot off to the right there, but hard on the brakes. Here we go, hop the curb, little bit of accelerator, then back to second. This second one's a little bit tighter, and that completes the lap. So Bernd Frey's coming across. So times are coming in: 3:43, 3:39 by Zamborino, 3:40 by Panos. Let's see who else is finishing off as well. We'll drop down. Noodlester's just coming up towards the end of the lap. He's quite a quick driver. Timmerus 3:43. We're going to have quite a mixed up grid here, I think. There's Mark Parker, he's in 6th. Let's have a look. He's just crossed the line. So Cullen having to drop a penalty there. So he's on a 3:42. Noodlester coming across the line now. quickly followed by Noddy's mate and Holland. Oh, Noodles are quite slow that day, must have had a problem. 3:45 for Noddy, mate, or 3:57 there for Holky. So that completes qualifying, and we're going to jump straight into the race here. We're just going to have to sort a minor technical issue at this end, which we have now. So this is it. So we've got a 20-minute race. So no compulsory pit stops. So they can just decide what they're going to do in that respect. We can see the Greek guys, as we know, are very quick. Kevin's not joined us this week. Unfortunately, he's got more commitments, and he's been the driver to beat. I don't think a V8 race has been won by anybody other than Kevin. So he is quite an incredible driver, and he's not with us tonight. So this is going to open it to possibly, well, he's definitely going to open it to a different winner. So here we go, rolling start, 3, 2, 1, and we're off. And they're going to go fairly line astern to start with. Interestingly, they've designated this first corner as turn 1, and I think the next part of it, just about here, they've designated as turn 2, just there. Even though it's all fairly straight. Then hard onto the brakes for the chicane to get through before we go over the hump and under the Dunlop Bridge. Panos looks like he's catching Zamborino quite quickly there. Looks like he's pulled that gap in, and Cullinan is dropping back a little bit. So down, here we go through Tetra Rouge. Don't cut through those cones because you'll get yourself a penalty. And the first 3 definitely seem to have got themselves away. Let's hop back to 4th because Burnt Fry didn't get the best qualifying lap in, but definitely seems to be working hard at... Oh, and he's looked like he's got by Timorous already. He's going to appear on our left-hand side. But I would imagine Timorous is going to slide. There we go, right straight back under the rear wing and try and get the draft to get by. And now he's getting alongside. Oh, I wish we had a side camera. Wouldn't this be absolutely fantastic? There they are, side by side. Who's going to win the drag race? It's mile after mile here, side by side. Who's going to get the better of it? Timorous is on the right side for the next right-hander, but that's still some way away. They're only about halfway down the straight here. They're coming over the crest. No one's benefiting from the slipstream here. And interestingly, behind, we've got a very similar battle going on. We'll stick with this one to start with. Side by side, here they are, doorman to doorman. They actually look across at each other and saying who's going to give way first. So it's going to be who's the latest on the brakes. I think it's going to be Timorous because he's got the inside. Let's just hop back to see, select and Noddy's mate. Noddy's mate's picked up a little penalty there, but I imagine he'll be able to shake that off fairly quickly. We'll drop back to Burnt Fry. Oh, it's side by side, it's touchy, and Timorous gets it. Well, that's got to be one of the world's longest overtaking manoeuvre, I would imagine that, all the way down the main straight there. But Burnt Fry's right under the rear wing again. He's getting the draft. He's going to be absolutely all over the back of that car in front. Let's have a look. Look at this. You can almost see his dials through the rear windscreen. He's so close. Is he going to make a dive? We're coming up towards Indianapolis. He's going to have a look. Dab on the brakes as we go in. Down through the gears. Keeping it tight. A little bit slidey there. No, but he's got... Timorous has got through there cleanly. So we'll just hop back up the front because I think we're seeing that Panos is catching Zamborino there. Gap of half a second. He's in the slipstream again. The slipstreaming is going to be a big factor tonight, and when these cars get close on this, it's real slipstreaming, so they will get drawn into the car in front. And Panos is definitely taking advantage of that. We're not going to get many laps in tonight because we're over 3 minutes into the race already. We still haven't completed the lap. Absolutely incredible. So let's work our way down. Let's just have a look, see if we can see if there's anything else lively. Select has got Noddy's mate there. So I think Noodles had a penalty, but he's dropped that off. And in 9th we've got Mark Parker. I think he's moved back a couple of positions from his qualifying spot. And Holky's there, he's returned to the series. He had a couple of weeks off, he had other commitments, but it's great to see him back on there. So here we go. Panos coming up to complete the first lap. It looks like he's lost a bit of time there. Zamborino, it was about half a second. So we'll go back to this battle between Timorous and Burnt Fry. Burnt Fry's picked up a penalty there, so he's going to need to shake that on this lap. as they are the rules. So he can lose that in braking areas by braking a little bit earlier, maybe being off the throttle a little bit on acceleration. But he needs to shed that, and it's going to be painful for him over this lap. So he was obviously giving Timorous quite a hard time there. And Timorous has got a penalty as well. I imagine that's for track limits, because the first part of this circuit is also used for MotoGP, and it's got some quite wide areas you can run wide on and gain possibly an advantage, like they are doing there. And if you do it, you'll get a penalty. So Burnfry's going to use the benefit of slipstream to catch up, but on the flip side, he's then got to use up his penalty. So it'll be interesting to see how he's going to work that one out. So he's pulled out alongside again. Here we go, Mulsanne straight, round 2. Oh, and he's got straight by. He's got straight by, but they've both still got to shake these penalties off. Let's just move up the front to see what's happening. Oh, Panos has dropped back into the clutches of Cullinan, and he's right behind him there as they work down the main Mulsanne straight, heading towards the Mulsanne corner at the end of it. They're just coming up to the right-hand kink. Is Cullinan? Yeah, look at the benefit of that slipstream. These cars are identical, but you've got that car in front banging the hole through the air. So there's a great gap there which Cullinan gets sucked into, and he looks like he's going for the outside there into the corner. Can he make it stick? He's got it done before the brakes. He's obviously got a great draft there. So Cullinan is now going to be over after Zamborino, whereas Panos was one originally giving them a hard time. So Cullinan's caught right up on Zamborino there. Head down towards Indianapolis. I'll be surprised if he can get anything done here, but he just might. We'll just bring up the leaderboard for you there. Look at that, 0.1 of a second. Absolutely nothing in it at the moment. Let's head through Indianapolis. On the brakes hard. Oh, Zamborino's a bit loose there. He got it all a bit snaky. Cullinan could smell an opportunity. He's going for the outside. But oh, Zamborino doing on his tyres. Dived on the brakes there onto that final corner to head back towards the pits. And it just understeered straight off, and Cullinan said, "Thank you very much, I'm in." So Zamborino, from leading the race, now is under pressure for his second place from Panos, who is all over the back of him as they head into the Porsche curves. Look at these wonderful liveries, all designed around the V8 supercars in Australia. I think they look absolutely fantastic. So here we go, through out the Porsche curves, heading back towards the pit chicane. Looks like Zamborino's got his tyres clean again, but he's still under an awful lot of pressure there. Is Panos going to have a look up into the chicane on the brakes? I don't think he's close enough. No, line the stern through there, taking as much curb as they can without getting the penalty. Talking the penalties, let's head back. Timorous and Burnfry both managed to get rid of those penalties, but they're still side by side. We've got 12. Oh, Burnfry was looking very snaky coming out of the chicane there. And so we've got just under 12.5 minutes remaining, and we've got 2 laps in. So by the looks of this, it's going to be about a 5, maybe 6 lap race. So let's have a look further down, see if we've got anything developing further back. So Burnfry and Timorous there, we know, are quite close together. Oh, Noddy Smate and Select, and it looks like Noodlester's coming up in the background as well. So let's hang on board with these guys for a couple of minutes. Noddy's mate getting a little bit squirrely in that Pepsi Max BMW there, and Select has his Repsol livery running all over the back of Noddy's mate there, trying to get that 6th place, but it looks like Noddy's mate's pulled it. Oh, look at that, absolutely sideways coming out of there, and that will have lost him drive. He's going to lose him drive all the way onto the Mulsanne straight. So this is going to play into Select's hands, and he's going to get the benefit of the slipstream as we head down. And in the background we can see Noodlester gradually catching this pair as well. So just keep an eye on the activity up the front. That Burnfry, we missed that. Burnfry had got Timorous, but I think that was on the slipstream down the main straight. So it's now going back to the other way. Yeah, Timorous gets back up to 4th. I've got the feeling this is going to be fairly race long, this battle between these two guys. as they head down over the crest past the second chicane. Looks like Timorous has got it back. These guys are just so evenly balanced, aren't they? Oh, Burnfly tucks in. Is he going to go for launch? They go over that final crest. Cars go very slightly light. Down to the Mulsanne corner. Burnfly's going out wide. Timorous is going defensive. Burnfly's trying to go all the way around the outside. Fantastic stuff. Has he got it done? Yes, he has. He's showing his fourth. Timorous tucks back under the rear wing. Fantastic battle here. That these guys are separated by cigarette paper. Timorous once again in that slipstream, dives out round the next right-hand kink, trying to get the inside line as they come up to Indianapolis, which is a fast right-hander, then heavily on the brakes into a second gear left-hander, and it looks like he's got it done. Oh, but Burnfly hangs on to it round the outside. Great stuff. We're loving this. So, up to this last right-hander as they head back towards the pits. Now it's in Burnfly's hands. Gets a good exit from there, runs across the curb. Final stretch of public road before we head into the inner circuit, as I'll call it. We'll just look down quickly while these guys are running on this section, because I don't think they'll change dramatically. Select has got by Noddy's mate, so I'd imagine that was on the slipstream down the Mulsanne straight. We don't get overtake manoeuvres for a lap or so, and then we get them all at once. But Noodles is still coming there in the back, so he certainly hasn't given up. So he's not far behind. And then we'll move down to Mark Parker, who had a fantastic run in the GT4 race a couple of weeks ago, won the race. There's some fantastic driving on the reverse grid, and that's something that mentioned about our second race tonight will be a reverse grid based on the result of the first. Now the Mulsanne straight is going to make that quite easy to catch that up, but the drivers in the top 5 will end up with harder tyres, so that will make their job that little bit more difficult. So hopefully that's going to produce quite a close bit of racing, but obviously the slipstream on the main straight is going to play a factor into that. And there in 10th is Holke, just coming around towards the end of the lap. Oh, a little bit of understeer there with that BMW there. I think those front tyres were screaming a little bit too much there, Holke. Excuse me. So maybe you need to just be a little bit more gently on them. So let's have a look back up the front. Panos still working hard on Zamborino. Let's hop on board with him, see how that slipstream works as we head down that main straight. We're just on the first section here. Look at that already. That car's pulling closer and closer and closer. Let's get the car data up. Oh, bit of a bump draft there where the car behind comes up and just gives the car in front a nudge just to help it gain a few more revs. And they're doing it again. Oh, are these guys working together? Look at this. Nearly 180 miles an hour. I think there's some bump drafting going along here with these guys. Be interesting. Let's just hop back one into third place and see what. See, it's only 174 miles an hour there, whereas these guys at the front are running 180. So there's definite bump drafting activity going on here, and I'm not quite sure what the stewards think of it. Look at that, nearly 180 miles an hour, so it's given them an extra 5 miles an hour, these two guys, and there's no effort by Panos there to actually overtake, and it's almost like Cullinan is trying to shake him off. Here we go into the first corner. Sorry, Zamborino and Panos. I've got the two drivers mixed up there. So, interesting technique by those two guys. They've pulled themselves now away from 3 seconds. So, be interested we work back, see if anybody else is trying to work the same routine as we hop on board with Select there. And we've got Noddy's mate coming by there, who's got a half-second penalty to shake off. Be interested to see whether these guys can work the same thing as they come around Mulsanne corner. Noddy's mate has basically shed that penalty. There's only a fraction of a second, which I imagine he'll lose at the next braking point. But Noodlester's been the one that's been working on this pair with just under 6.5 minutes left. So that's going to mean this lap and the next one. And then that will be our lot for this first race. So Noodlester's coming in on this one. Noddy's mate. Oh, yellow flag. We're what have we got going on? I can't see anything obvious. If one of the front guy, oh, looks like Burnt Fry's had a problem. Let's see if we can catch that back. We'll go to the replay and cross our fingers. So we'll see. He was in 5th place. Oh, we just see the end of it there. It looks like he got it wrong at Indianapolis, and then he couldn't get round and had to do the old 3-point turn driving license job there. So it looks like he just lost it, and then Select, Noodlester and Noddy's mate decided to mug him as well. So all the Brits are there together, and we've got our usual problem with replays, that it's just gone a little bit pear-shaped on us, but we're back, and we'll look at where... Oh, sorry, I'm nearly strangled myself with my own microphone cable. That could have been embarrassing. So let's have a look what we've got going on here. We'll get the names back up. There we go. Press all the right buttons, we get all the right answers, don't we? Fantastic, there we go. So Burnt Fry now needs to work his way with just under 5 minutes left. Oh, we're going to get 2 more laps as we've just crossed the finishing line now. So Burnt Fry's working on Noodlester. So that's the first place gain back from what he lost from that spin there at Indianapolis. But I don't think Noodlester's given that up quite yet. And maybe these guys can work together doing the bump drafting that the leaders were doing. Oh, Burnt Fry's gone a bit deep there. Noddy's mate cuts back under, gets on the throttle a bit excitedly, gets it all sideways. And Burnt Fry gets that 7th place. So as we come off the Grand Prix circuit and head out on the endurance one, Burnt Fry is going to obviously try and break that gap. Oh, Noddy's mate, what happened there? It all went horribly wrong. Let's have a look back. Noddy's mate was through Tetra Rouge. Oh, he got out on the gravel there. Look, oh, it's come round. Oh, and Select just misses him. Got it on the brakes. Oh dear. And we've got the same problem again. Excuse me, viewers. We'll get straight back onto where we were. Get the timings up for you and get the driver names up for you. Oh, no, we'll try that one, and we'll try that button there, and there we go. So as we head down the main straight, the Mulsanne, look at that, Select with Noodlester right behind. Burnt Fry now Noddy's mate has dropped out of it. What a fantastic camera shot, look at this. Side by side, fantastic stuff. Burnt Fry's trying to get a double draft off the pair of them. He's decided to hang on to Select. They're not doing the bump drafting that the Greek team were doing. Side by side, who's going to come out of this one on top? Left and right. Burnt Fry tucks in and then pops out again. Here we go, over the crest, side by side. Here they go. It looks like Noodles just lost out a little bit there, and Burnt Fry's going to try and go right round the outside. Oh no, he's right, he's gone wide, Oh, tappy, but they got away with it. And now they're side by side again. How long can they keep this up, these guys? This is absolutely fantastic. Right, Noodles has tucked under Select now. Burnt Fry slides in behind. He was leading going into Mulsanne corner out of these 3. He's gone from 5th to 7th in a few hundred metres. So they're heading towards Indianapolis. Who's going to pop out first? They're starting to fan out. Now, who's going to be the brave? Burnt Fry's going for it. Oh, but that was slightly too brave. He had a problem here on the last lap. He was across, and he's had the same problem again. Oh no, it's all gone wrong for Burnt Fry there. So the battle now is for 5th and 6th between Select in 5th and Noodlester in 6th. We'll have to look back and see whether Noddy's mate is going to be able to catch up with Burnt Fry. Looking in the background there, I can't see him coming. Oh yeah, he's just appearing there, but I think the gap's too big. We've got just 1 lap to go. I think most of these guys will get onto that final lap, because as soon as the time finishes and they cross the line, that's it. It's the race is finished as far as they're concerned. There's no running out of time after the leader has crossed the line. So when the time's up, their race is up. So Noodlester, he can sense a 5th place here, which I'm sure he'd be pleased with as a finish. Burnt Fry, I don't think he's quite given it up yet, but unfortunately he was up there with that leading pack and has slipped back. And that, as talking of things up the front, those guys are starting their last lap, and Zamborino, Panos and Clunan are still 1, 2 and 3, and Timorous there in 4th, a little bit further back. So I don't think this is over. Burnt Fry's in the, oh, fantastic speed by Burnt Fry through the chicane. Will he pick up a penalty? Was it a bit too greedy on the curbs? No, it's absolutely fine. He's there, he's right behind Noodlester. Look at this, we're heading up. That's turn 1, that's turn 2. And we're onto the brakes into turns 3 and 4. Through the chicane, up over the crest, under the Dunlop Bridge. Oh, it's all very squealy and loose there from Burnt Fry. Let's hop on board with his tech info. Well, he's using the Racing Super Soft and there's no wear there, so it's not a problem on that side of it. So these guys, I just think, are giving it everything. We're absolutely on the last lap. Good to see everyone's making the full race distance. Here we go. It's going to be a slipstream battle down this main straight. I'll keep an eye on the corner. We'll see what's happening with the leaders. I think they're still playing bump drafting down the straight. So what are these three guys going to do? Select there, having to punch the hole in the air. He's doing all the hard work. Noodlester's taking one advantage and Burnt Fry's taking more advantage. So here they go. There's no way through that gap for Burnt Fry. It's just too narrow. It's a public road. It's too wide. But here he goes. He's found a way. He's going down a hard shoulder. Look at this. He's using all the track and a bit more. He's got alongside. Let's hop outside. Look at this. 3 BMWs side by side. It's showing Burnt Fry in 5th. He's just in front of these 3 guys. I can't call it, they're just so close. I think Burnt Fry's got a slight edge there, but he's on the wrong side for the next corners. There's a right hand kink and then there's a sharp right. Here's the right hand kink. He tried to make this work last lap, it didn't. He's going to jump on those brakes as we go over the crest. They'll get sight of the corner. This is what it's going to be all about. He's out there on the dirty stuff, you can see it kicking the dirt up. He's going to go on the brakes late. He's trying to go around the outside. I think Select's got it. He's going side by side. Oh, he's got it completely sideways, but he's got around the outside. He hung on to it. Fantastic. Now he's got the hard work. He's punching the hole in the air. Up front, Zamborino still leading. Panos second, Clunan third. Nothing's changed up there. Here we go. Burnt Fry, Select, Noodlester. They're right together. Noodlester's looking to fill the sandwich between the two. He's picked up the biggest draft as they come down the straight because he was at the back. Who's going to be last late breakers? Burnt Fry's had trouble here before. He's going a little bit more cautious. He's been elbowed a little bit out onto the curbs there. And he's ended up third out of that little pack. Select's got back and lead. Noodlester's angling. He can see 5th place there. I can't call this. We've got just a few corners to go. Oh, it's a little bumpy boy across the curbs there, but no one appeared to lose much out. So here we go. Line astern. Burnt Fry still under that ring on Noodlester, and Noodlester still under Select. I think this is all going to be at the chicane into the pits. I can't see anywhere else, but I may be wrong. It looks like Noodlester's trying to make a move there into the Porsche curves. The leaders are just getting to the end, but I'm going to let them finish because Zamborino goes across the line in first. Panos second, Clunan third, and Timorous would have been 4th. So this is the battle for 5th, 6th and 7th, and it's still too close to call. Noodles has got round Select through that section of the corners. They're absolutely incredible. Burnt Fry's not giving this up. They're all over the place. They're weaving. They're trying. Oh no! That's what we didn't want to see. It all ended up in a terrible mess there. Let's have a look back. So here we go into the corner. Select pulled across. Probably didn't realise Burnt Fry was alongside. Unfortunately, Burnt Fry lost out. The Noodles was the big winner. Burnt Fry got it all together and got it across the finishing line. And got to the finish, but that was also a little bit tight. Oh, unfortunately, we lost the Hulky in the middle of all that. So they are running around side by side there, but we've got the result there. So Zamborino first, Panos second, Clunan third, Timorous 4th, Noodlester in 5th, and we'll just go to the main result. And there we go, the first non-Kevin 77 winner in the V8 series. Absolutely fantastic. Well done there to our race winner Zamborino. So let's just have a look at the result there. So Zamborino, as we said, won the race there. Clunan second, Timorous Panos second, Clunan third, Timorous 4th, and that great battle between Noodlester, Select and Burnt Fry, and they ended up 5th, 6th and 7th. Noddy's mate had that incident coming out of Tetra Rouge. He dropped down to 8th, and then 9th was Mark Parker, and then sadly we lost Holke. And then fastest lap by Kalunen in 3rd, so maybe he got a little bit of advantage of some of the slipstream, but that was back on lap 2 and a 3:39. So during this short interval, the drivers 1st to 5th, so that's the 4 Greek drivers and Noodlester are all going to have to move instead of racing super soft to racing soft. So that means those tyres aren't quite as sticky. So, just in the chat there, Comfort Hards is what Mark Parker claimed he was driving, which is really the hardest tyre you can get. As a racing friend of mine once described, similar to the compound they use on the Space Shuttle. So we're just going to have a little brief interlude here while they reset the track details. It's going to be it's going to be sunny, but it's going to be late evening sunny. So be interesting to see whether that has any effect on the guys there. We'll just have a quick look in the chat. Let's see what they're talking about in there. Catch up on this high technology, which I'm not overly used to at times. Yep. One of the drivers who's not into it is mentioning the tip that we should work together. Now, if any of you guys out there are listening, I think the tip to work together is bump drafting, because that definitely seemed to be what was going on down the front there. And they were working with each other, just bouncing along, and they were achieving about 179, 180 miles an hour, where the guys in their own air were only doing about 173, 174. So that was making really, really big difference there, particularly with the length of that straight and the difference in speed. That just added up the time as the laps went on. And if we look at the race results, we got the timing there. Yeah, look, the great guys that were working there together doing that slipstreaming, it's just made so much difference. Look, they're the front three are nearly 30 seconds ahead of 5th place, which was okay. Those guys have had a few incidents and that kind of thing, but they definitely really made the break there. Mark Parker's asking in the chat, was he last? I'm afraid so, Mark, because Holke unfortunately is retired. Therefore, that actually means, yes, you were last, Mark. Unfortunately, that does mean you have pole for the 2nd race. So I'm sure that was a strategic move there by Mark Parker. Noodles obviously enjoyed that battle for 5th, 6th and 7th, where he got 5th. He claims that his hands are still shaking, which is obviously he got quite a lot of adrenaline going there. So, and it's and they're just clarifying that nobody said you can't bump draft, and definitely there was bump drafting going on there, guys. So get your ears open. That's how they were getting away with it. So I would hope that we are quite soon going to be having tyres changed over, and then moving on to race 2. And this, as I mentioned, is going to be a reverse grid of race 1. You can see on screen there, just quickly, I unfortunately moved away, the chicanes on the Mulsanne straight that really take the sting out of that long straight and breaks it up basically into 3 separate straights, which was done for safety, because obviously over the years the speed some of the cars were achieving down there was phenomenal, and became dangerous, and drivers were getting killed, so they needed to do something to calm it down. But this is sim racing, and the drivers will survive if they get it wrong, so we don't worry about their safety too much. So, but what we'll be doing here, we're going for a reverse grid, and the other factor will be is those first 5 will be on harder tyres. So we'll hope that'll give the chance for some of the guys who will be at the front, and particularly Mark Parker. He's a guy to watch. He's had experience, a reverse grid, starting well forward and hanging on to it. So we'll be interested to see whether he can do it at this circuit as well. The interesting thing with it was the races he's won at didn't have the long straights like you have at this circuit here, and obviously that slipstreaming has a great advantage where you can get on board with these drivers, and let's just move on to a different driver. You can get on behind the driver in front and really build up that slipstream and increase your speed. So I think the guys are realising that they need to work together to try and get themselves up to the front. And the other factor is they really need to be not making the mistakes they did in the first race, which is what caused some of that gap. So we're just watching Clunan here, who's just putting in a little bit of practice here down through Tetra Rouge. If you watch some of the old footage of this track, why do people walk in front of the camera like that? It's so annoying. If you watch some of the old footage of the track, the view of Tetra Rouge